Folks, you can forget about what's happening on the planet. You can forget about what is. You can forget about reality. None of that matters. What matters is what you want and where you want to be. Hi, I'm Robin Retallick, founder of the Law of Attraction Club, and we'd like to help you get to that place, because that's what's fun for us. We're putting together a program here and we really like your input. Here's some interesting facts. Eva is my life partner and she's a member of a heavy hitting group in the personal development industry. And they have a group that meets every so often, and she just came back from one of their meetings and they were talking about success rates for program attendees. And I quote, 3% of your program attendees are your rock stars. 3%. Some people, few, get some benefit from the program. Most eventually get little to no benefit from the program. And of course the testimonials and the great success stories come from that top 3%. So what's going on here? Well, the problem with most programs like this is that they're all about doing stuff. It's all about what you have to do. Getting to that place you want to be is not about what's happening on the planet or what is or so-called reality, and it's not about your past or your pasts if you happen to believe you've had more than one of them, and it's also not about doing stuff. All that doing stuff does is help you believe that something is going to come as a result, but it's not the doing that does it, it's the belief that causes the result. And once you get that, everything changes. So we've been looking at the ways in which we can help people get to where they want to be. And that's, of course, the program we're putting together over the next few days here. Here's what we're planning. We're calling it 50 Days to a New World. And we're structuring it to meet you where you are. In other words, there's no prereqs. It's a come-as-you-are party. It's going to be an intensive, personal, one-of-a-kind program that jump-starts you into new ways of thinking. Because new ways of thinking means a new life. Because it's your thoughts that create your world. We're looking for your input because we want to be sure we're addressing all the issues that people like you might have. If you'll give us some quick feedback here, here's what we're going to do. We will respond directly to all of you who give us a contribution, questions or comments or suggestions. We'll follow up with the results of the survey, and we'll be organising a webinar next week to talk about those results, to answer any additional questions, and to talk about a super deal we're putting together as a thank you for your help. In return for your feedback, we're going to be offering you a slot in our pilot program. Now, we can't make it free because, as you'll see by the nature of this program, there's a ton of one-on-one time involved here. But we will be offering it to you at a huge discount, plus some really good bonuses as a thank you for helping us put the whole thing together here. So what I'd like to do very briefly here is two things. Firstly, give you some history, because that'll give you a real feel for what we're putting into the program. And secondly, I'll outline what we're proposing as the content of the program, and then it's over to you. So let's begin. All questions about life have three levels. There's the top level short answer, number one. Then there's the background to the answer to the question behind the question. Here's where we go a lot deeper and talk about who you are, what you're doing here, how the law of attraction works, and all that stuff about the nature of things. Okay, so that's how it works. But then there's the third level. How do I make it work for me? So we're talking here about taking all of that understanding and getting it into the fibre of your being, into your bones, as some people say, to make it a part of who you are. And this third level, this getting it inside of you stuff, is totally missing from most of these programs. You see, you've chosen beliefs over your lifetime, and this has formed a tapestry of expectations about everything. And when we talk about changing your world, we're talking about changing that tapestry. We're talking about moving way beyond a few simple answers to a few simple questions here. And we're talking about changing that tapestry in 50 days. And how are we going to do that? Well, first a bit of history here, because what we've learned in the last 5 years that forms some key ingredients for this program. It all started for me in about 1990 when Eva turned me on to Abraham, channeled by Esther Hicks. Now, I didn't know what channeling was. It seemed a bit weird to me, but the answers were powerful and they rang true to me. Fast forward 18 years, 2,000 plus hours of listening to their audios, being at their seminars in the hot seat. Some questions remained, but we thought we had a good handle on the law of attraction. And then I hooked up with Nina Ferrell, channeling Abraham. We call them Torah to avoid any conflict. And we formed this Law of Attraction Club community, thinking we'd do the seminar thing, but via telephone conference calls. So that was 2008, and of course the beginning of, for me, unlimited access to Torah, which was part of the appeal of, for me, honestly, personally, of setting up this program. And if we'd learned this much in the 18 years of listening to all the Abraham stuff, now we were up here because it was just an order of magnitude difference. So I could ask all the questions I wanted to. And we learned a ton before, but now we had some really key things that filled in all the slots, and all the puzzle pieces sort of came together. We cover all of this in our calls and our programs, but let me give you some of the key points here. Firstly, the law of attraction. We've come to a much better understanding of the way that works. We've come to a new definition, and it's this. You attract into your experience, wanted or unwanted, moment by moment, unique to you, a world that is the sum of your expectations. Now, I won't go into much of that here. As I said, we go into all of these things in great length. But let me just say that every word in that definition is significant. Next, what we discovered was that in order to help people get this stuff into their bones, that it needed engagement. We needed to have a relationship with them and to stick with them through this process. And out of that came our phenomenally successful Create Your Life program, which started as 3 months and then ended up as 12 months, in which we really engage with you. In the early days of that program, we do a daily contact with you. And thirdly, channeling. Let me talk a little bit about that, because when we started this community, we suddenly had many people coming to us and saying, you know, I think I'm starting to channel. This wasn't part of the plan, and so I said to Torah, what's going on here? Is it that everybody on the planet that wants to channel is attracted to us, or is everybody going to be channeling? And they said yes, and you too, Robin, will channel. And I thought, me? That's not at all in my plans and not at all likely. And then, of course, Eva, who had also said she would never channel, began to channel, followed by me and Mary Beth and Rachel, who are on staff in this community and do our weekly Q&A calls here. And so what we discovered was that channeling is as normal and natural as having breakfast. There's nothing special about it at all. And that led to, since we needed now to support these people into this place, our original 3-month ended up 12-month program called Living with Source. And so let me talk a little here about success rates, because we've been running this program for 4 years, and everybody who's been through this program has succeeded in channeling in some form. Everybody. Once again, phenomenally successful. So now we have these 2 really successful 12-month programs. But there's been a pull towards something shorter, something more intensive. And we started thinking, could we really be effective in a shorter program? Could we really be as successful? And so here we are with this 50 days to a new world. And clearly it's not going to be business as usual. We're taking the key ingredients that we've learned, of course, and we're putting them into a structure here. It's going to be some sort of structure, and that's what we're building right now. But if it's you doing the program, it'll be your program. It'll be built around you. And so here we go. Here's what we see as the key ingredients right now. 7 60-minute personal, private, one-on-ones with Tara. You see, our friend and advisor Tara is the key resource here. And if you're a part of this program, you will form a bond with them and no doubt a lifetime relationship, a lifetime friendship with them. They are the core of this community and everything we do. Now, we anticipate that perhaps early in the 7 weeks, more of those calls will be taken up with your questions, and perhaps later it'll be more towards getting it into your bones here, having it become part of you. But this is going to be entirely responsive to you. There will be 7 courses, if you like, articles, ideas for you to explore, 1 a week, with email or chat responses as appropriate. You'll be able to participate at the gold member level in our community and in our 3 weekly Q&A conference calls. There will be 7 additional audio downloads from our from our archive of conference call audios. You pick the ones you want. Once again, email or chat responses as appropriate. A wrap-up webinar on day 50, and an invitation to join the ongoing Create Your Life graduate program. 2 graduate calls a week, 3 Q&A calls a week. So that's it. That's our 50-day program. 50 days to a new world. Can we pull it off in 50 days? Well, we think we can. Obviously, it is not, as I said before, going to be business as usual. It's going to take commitment on the part of people who are in it, and we'll be matching, of course, that commitment. It's going to be an intensive program. So, we'd love your feedback. Whether you think this program's for you or not, we would love your feedback. As I said earlier, we'll get back to everyone that contributes. We'll give you a summary of all the stuff that comes in, and we'll be having a webinar to talk about it with you and discuss the results. And, of course, to make you an offer of joining this pilot program if that's what you'd like to do. So, send an email to robin@theloaclub.com. Keep it simple. And here's some suggestions, if you like, as a framework for answering those questions for us. And thanks.